Hi, Lucia. Let's take a look at this new set of essays you've sent us. This is a letter to your friend asking you about advice. Let's see what you said. Dear Rosie, I'm writing to you to try and see if I can be of any help to you. This situation at work that you are going through is, not it's, is. Certainly, let me talk to you about why it's is and not it's. This whole thing here, it's a noun phrase, but it's essentially acting like your subject. So think of this whole thing here, this situation at work that you're going through. That's your subject. I know it's a lot of words, but it's one subject. So what follows is just the verb. Is, certainly quite unpleasant, but it happens to be a very common one as well. I understand that it is a particular problem that can really make your day today quite stressful, but I would like you to trust me and see that you're going to be just fine. Please don't think about here giving up so easily. Once you read what I've had to say, I'd like you to reconsider about quitting. Reconsider quitting without the about. You reconsider something. When I started my career about 16 years ago, everything about relationships at work, managing with others' attitudes, here you need an apostrophe, and characters as well as my own seemed quite challenging. I once had a boss particularly exigent and uneasy at communicating. All right, that's a little awkward. You don't mean uneasy at communicating with. You mean something else here. So you mean and difficult to communicate with. The situation got to the point that he seemed to have some kind of personal issues against me. I thought about quitting as well, but after a while I decided I could first try a different approach. I changed myself by trying to not be so anxious at work. I did a meditation course, which I continue now as much as I can, and by that I could change his approach to me. He kept being a really demanding boss, but he stopped treating me in that disrespectful manner. This is why I would like you to write me back once you have read this, maybe via Skype, and I'll talk to you, or I'll talk with you, about what kind of courses and activities can help you overcome the situation. Full stop. I will also give you a whole new perspective that will improve your life as a whole. I'm going to send you some information about yoga courses as well. I hope you never forget how important you are. Cheers, Lucia. Okay, let's see. It's great. I really liked it. You certainly extended. It was very believable. I almost want to ask you about the meditation and yoga courses as well. So it was a convincing letter. Well done. Were there some places that were a little awkward? Yeah, there were, but it wasn't problematic. It was fine to get through. No real issues. Okay? It was certainly an informal letter. It felt like you were talking to a friend, so very appropriate. Not bad at all. Okay? Let's take a look at your second essay. All right, so here it is. This is the one about food traveling. The question here is it better for the environment and economy if we eat only local food? Let's see what you said. The most effective method in improving and developing a country both environmentally and economically is considered to be the support and encouragement of the local food produced by farmers. In my opinion, I agree that the consumption of those products that have been grown by locals must be prioritized over the international ones. This essay will discuss that statement using examples from recent studies published by the International Economics and the European Statistics Institute to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, that's very nice. It's good. No problems. No problem at all. Okay. Let's see. On the one hand, there is ample evidence that consuming local food has, because it's, look at this, again, this is one thing, consuming local food. It's a singular thing. So has more benefits, environmentally speaking. It is undeniable that trucks that transport food products just around one country have to travel less distance than the ones that travel from different countries. Undoubtedly, international deliveries we don't say they run more kilometers, they travel more kilometers while having to cover much longer distances and crossing frontiers. That feels a little repetitive to me. It doesn't feel like you're saying anything different in either sentence, so I would have gotten rid of one of them. Also, ships coming from long distances consume much more fuel and produce higher levels of CO2 emissions. For example, according to the Finland government, the last annual report about food waste was considerably reduced in those countries where local food consumption outweighed the international one. No, where local food consumption outweighed that of international food. Therefore, it is clear that promoting local agriculture of food products will contribute to ameliorating, ing here, the protection of the environment. All right, there is a little problem here. They haven't asked you to analyze what is wrong with international food. What they've asked you to analyze is if local food is better. Okay? In two ways, environmentally and economically. So, is it appropriate to mention what is wrong with international food environmentally? Sure, you can mention it, but the focus should not be on what's wrong with international food, but instead what is right about local food. So it's just changing your perspective, okay? Because look at this again. Some people think it would be better for the environment and economy if we only ate local food. And look at that also, only. So rather than focusing on why international food is bad, focus on why local food is good and only local food, okay? So it just requires a shift in your perspective here. On the other hand, although it is undeniable that international food products report their benefits, okay, like giving, ing, the possibility of making food from all over the world reachable. Reachable is not the right word. You want accessible. It is clear that promoting local farmers and food products made locally is going to reinforce other aspects affecting the villages and cities, such as tourism without the "the." For instance, following late data from the Tourism Agency of Denmark, those local markets that were launched last year and have been working twice a week, get rid of since, around the different villages of the country ended up attracting, get rid of by, attracting triple the amount of the tourists received in the former years. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that by fomenting local food consumption and helping local farmers, we will be giving the economy a bigger impulse. I didn't really understand that. I assume that you were trying to talk about how local food consumption helps the economy, but it was so difficult to follow. You said, okay, even in this like first sentence, you said it's going to reinforce other aspects affecting the villages, and you started talking about tourism. So even in that first sentence of the paragraph, which is supposed to give me an outline of where you're going to go with this paragraph, it didn't help me. I didn't know what you were talking about. All of a sudden I see this thing about tourism, so I didn't know where you were going with this. Then you give me more information about tourism, all right, a very long sentence here, and then you say something about local food consumption, helping local farmers, and then this last, like third to last word is about economy. So the point is that it's not clear what your central idea in this paragraph is. You have to get to the very last line in order to understand what you're trying to say. And I want you to take an approach that is the opposite of this. I want your central idea to be clear from that first sentence in your paragraph so that there could be no doubt what you are analyzing in this paragraph. So for example, on the other hand, clearly local food consumption would be a boon to the local economy. That makes it so clear what you're going to talk about. And then you can structure your paragraph around that kind of statement. And you can say how all these measures or different measures that would help the economy related to local food production and consumption. Okay? Let's see. So to conclude from the examples and arguments given below, above. You gave them above. You didn't give them below. So to conclude from the examples and arguments given above, I firmly believe that consuming local food is definitely the best way to promote a much more sustainable environment as long as that doesn't make sense. No, much more sustainable environment, something. You're trying to say something as far as improving the economy is concerned, but this just doesn't work. It can be predicted that more and more countries will try and support local food and local farmers in the next years. Okay. So I think we've really covered what some of the problematic areas are here. For me, it was essentially task achievement and some problems with that. Here, I felt like you were arguing the wrong side of the argument. And here, you didn't really get to your point until the very last sentence. So both paragraphs are struggling in terms of both task achievement and coherence and cohesion. Okay? Those are the areas that I want you to think about a little bit. And if you need some suggestions or some additional advice, or if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in an email to us. We'll be happy to answer. Okay? Go ahead and correct these essays, and let's see what you write in your next set. Wish you lots of good luck.